My boss is horrible and makes me cry almost every day. All I know this isn't your typical romantic relationship post, so I hope it's relevant for me to post here. This is about my relationship with my boss. I am female 30 and my boss is male 50-ish. I am a computer programmer specializing in a niche area of expertise and have worked with some very well-known companies. I'm 10 years into a successful career. I'm well regarded and good at what I do. I also have a SO, male 32, and a daughter who is 9. 5 months ago, I was offered 2 jobs at the same time, one within a bank and the other for a small company. Because of the time required of the extensive checks for the bank, I decided to take the job for a small company. In fact, I was heavily persuaded into it. I originally applied for a role of a programmer, but the CEO pushed the salary right up and offered me a job as a technical senior manager, with the promise it would be very technically hands-on. I voiced my concerns about having no management experience, but we talked me around and promised me guidance and support. Over the months, this guy has broken promises, lied to me, been outwardly rude at every opportunity, undermined me constantly, never said thank you once, even when I put in many hours in the evenings and weekends, now stopped. Asks me to do A, I do A, gives me hell for not doing B because I was doing A. Has not allowed me to write a single line of code in 5 months and then outsourced the technical work to India against my advice and wishes. Destroyed my confidence. Put me in a position where I cry at home most evenings. Put strain on my relationship with my family. He is disliked by everyone in the company. No one has a good word to say about him. Over Christmas, another director of the company asked me if I was having any challenges, and I opened my heart and pretty much resigned on the spot, but he talked me out of it. Said things would change and that he would talk to the CEO. CEO was nice for about 2 weeks. We had lots of chats. I was open and frank, and then because I had prior stood up indirectly to him, he has since been making my life a misery. I am spending all my energy looking for a new job and being very proactive about it, but it takes time. It's hard because it's difficult to take a day off at short notice for interviews. I also have limits because of my daughter's schooling. I can't work outside my city. I have no savings and I am paying off debts, so I can't simply walk out. I do have some leads. The bank have been back in touch, but nothing will come of that until the spring. But these things are taking time. I am being proactive and pouring every spare penny I have into driving lessons, which will give me more options. I have few employment rights because I have been there under a year. UK law, and no one to talk to because my bully owns the company, and talking to other directors landed me in a worse situation. I can cope with not doing what I am skilled at and being bored and lied to, but the fact that he is victimizing me is unbearable. Even other people have picked up on it. I am personable enough and get on with everyone, but being the stereotypical geek I am, I find the complexity of dealing with people very hard. I can't play the manipulative games and get involved in the politics that are seemingly required to keep myself in good favor. In my whole career, I have never worked anywhere quite like this. I know I should keep my head down and take the money until I can get out, although I worry I won't get a reference. I should focus on this and not let it get me down, but that is so much easier said than done. I am angry and upset all the time, and I am starting to feel like I'll be stuck there forever. I am not sleeping. Always in a bad mood and drinking more than I should. I usually don't drink much at all. What can I practically do to cope? TLDR. My boss is a bully. I feel trapped, and it's having a massive impact on my life. What can I do to cope? Update 4 days later. Hi guys, I thought I would drop by with a mini update. My evil boss has a kind of henchwoman. She is a real ass licker and in many ways just as awful to be around. On Friday, she took me to one side and started to have a real go at me for everything under the sun. She is not my boss nor my senior, but I took each of her criticisms and addressed each E until she ended up apologizing to me. But then she followed this up with, "Guy who sits next to her has just told me that he overheard you talking on the phone outside the office. If you do insist on looking or another job, please be more respectful about it." I was flabbergasted. I basically said what I do on my lunch breaks in none of her concern. And if my boss has issue, he should take it up with me directly. Because I have no time for passive aggressiveness. I have not handed in my resignation, so as far as anyone is concerned, I am not leaving. This weekend sucked. It got to me really bad. I cried and took my bad mood out on my family and friends. Not cool. On Monday, I noticed in my diary that I had an appointment for an electrician to pop around for 10 minutes sometime in the morning, the end of next week. I emailed my boss asking if I could work from home. I have not requested this before, and many people are allowed to. It's considered a reasonable request in my office. They even gave me a laptop for this purpose. I was told, to be fair to the company, on this occasion, we request you take it as annual leave. I came home and had a real heart-to-heart with my SO. He said he's happy for me to leave anytime I want, will get by, and he hates seeing the sadness in my eyes, that we'd get by financially, and how much he believes in me. On the back of my WFH denial, it dawned on me that the henchwoman had told my boss about me leaving, and I was convinced that I was going to be asked to leave instead. I am on probationary still. This morning, I was a call from a recruiter. There is a company who lives 90 minutes drive away from my home who have been trying to recruit a developer with my skills for 3 months without any success. They found my CV online and are fizzing with excitement about me. I have a telephone interview with them tomorrow, and if that goes well, a face-to-face a week on Friday, ironically, when I'm being made to take annual leave. There are no other candidates for the role, and the job spec reads that it was written just for me. If we like each other, it's a big pay rise, and it's mainly home working. So I get to be paid more money to do a job I love while sitting in my bra and knickers all day, and I will get to see more of my family too. And no evil boss. Not there yet, but it looks hopeful, and because of that glimmer of hope, I feel so much better about things. And I have an SO and daughter that loves me. I'm respected professionally, and this will get better. My telephone interview is tomorrow at midday, GMT. If the whole internet crosses its fingers, perhaps I might be able to tell my boss to go screw himself. TL.dr. Work has been horrible, but got a promising job interview. If I get the job, I can do the job naked if I want. Update 2 5 weeks later. I posted about a month ago asking how I could cope with my horrible boss. I had a job interview, but it wasn't quite right, so I decided to stick it out a bit longer while waiting for something awesome to come up elsewhere. In the meantime, I have kept my head down and worked hard. I have just completed a project that was deployed today. No recognition, of course, but it's been interesting work from my perspective. I have been going for interviews, and finally I got offered an amazing local freelance contract. The paperwork came through today. In order to start, my first day must be 2nd April due to the nature of the work. I thought this would be cool as I'm on probationary in my current role and was sure I had read in my contractee could leave on a week's notice. I had a look at my contract today. I was wrong. It clearly states that while in probationary, my company can get rid of me on 4 weeks' notice, but irrespective of how long I have been there, I have to give 3 months' notice. I rang my boss, who is not in today, and told him I was going to hand my resignation in on Monday and that I needed to leave at the end of this month, and he said, let's talk about this on Monday. If he makes me work for 3 months, I will lose the contract. I will also lose my mind. I think it will be very difficult for me to find another role that will wait 3 months for me to start. If I work 3 months and resign without a job to go to, i.e. Yahweh, can't find anything suitable, I will be in big financial trouble. According to my Google, DIY employment and contract law advice, I live in the UK. This actually seems legit. So my horrible boss may well stop me from escaping his clutches. Can't stop blubbing tonight. TLDR. Found awesome new job, but horrible boss may cause me to lose opportunity. It kinda feels like he owns my soul. Final update 3 days after last post. This weekend I have caught flu and feel like death. Nonetheless, I put on a suit, put my makeup on, bought myself a double shot Americano and went into the lion's den. He called me into the boardroom as soon as I walked through the door. He made a point about how he was in control, how I was tied into a 3-month contract, and how he could sue me for the cost of getting a contractor in $350 a day to cover my position for the remainder of my contractual notice. He waved his stupid arms around to show who had the power. I said nothing. I nodded and sipped my coffee. Then he paused and said he'd considered it carefully and he's going to let me go next Thursday. He said he's prefer not to give me a personal reference and he is removing my admin privileges. I'm the IT manager. Even if he had continued down the line he started, I was going to walk anyway. I was going to break my contract, stand up to him and bid him good day. He did the right thing. I won't get paid for the bank holidays, meh, because of my release date, and he sent me home today on unpaid sick leave. I need the rest, and the sun is shining in my city today. But I don't even care. I'm free. I can't stop smiling. It's my 1-year anniversary and my SO is taking me for a beach break this weekend. I've booked myself in for a nice long massage next week too. I've also just had a phone call from another company bidding for a higher daily rate for my freelance services. I have learned a lot about how people work through this nightmare. I understand my worth as a professional and I think I'll be better at standing up for myself in future. Also, I will never sign a contract again without reading it 3 times. Thanks for your help. Reddit X, what do you guys think? Let's discuss in the comments. Follow and like for more stories.